Okay, if you are on this video, that means you already took the time to read the story, The Magical Rocks, A Myth About Aries, on your own. If you haven't done so yet, go ahead and pause this video, and I want you to go ahead and read this story. Spend about 10 minutes reading it on your own. Afterwards, I'm going to show you how to take notes. Okay, so let's go back at our learning goal. We're going to have to try and notice, noticing a difficult task or obstacle for your hero or heroine to overcome. So we're going to have to try and figure out who the hero is in this story and any obstacles that they overcome. Now, when I take notes, I like to pay attention to a couple words, and by marking those words, I give them, or I assign them, a letter. So, one thing I like to do when I start reading is trying to find who my main character is. So, I will mark the word I circle, MC, for main character. I also like to find any other characters in the story, and I will mark that C. Now, I like to mark P for problems, and that ties into our learning goal because we're trying to find an obstacle that a character has to overcome. E equals any emotions that you might find in the story. And one more I like to pay attention to is any character's actions. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and start reading the story to you and watch how I take my notes. And also we're going to try and find what obstacles a hero is facing in the story. The Magical Rocks, a myth about Aries. Okay, right now I know that Aries is going to be a character in the story. Also, I know it's about Aries, so he's going to be our main character. Once upon a time, a long time ago, Aries, the Greek god of war, was fighting against the Greek in a field in the northernmost tip of ancient Greece. So Greece is my setting, and also fighting in a field, so they're in a field, and that's also a setting. The field was on the border of Macedonia. That also tells me a little bit more about the setting, the name of it. And a country in the north. So I know Macedonia is a country in the north of Greece. The Macedonians were forever crossing the line. Crossing the line means trying to get more power. They're trying to conquer the Greek city-states one at a time. Ares kept a close eye on that field as many battles had been fought there. Let me go ahead and read this line again. Ares kept a close eye, that's an action, keeping an eye on something, on the field as many battles had been fought there. Ares did not wish to miss a good battle. So miss a good battle is also an action. This tells me a lot about our character, Ares. He doesn't want to miss a good battle. That means he likes to see any fights go on. Athena, oh, there's another character. Goddess of wisdom, saw her half-brother, so I know they're brothers, screaming and shouting happily as the Greeks died around him. Athena believed the Greeks' cause was just. Cause was just means basically that it was fair. They had a right to do it. Athena believed the Greeks' cause was just, as they were simply defending their home. They're trying to defend means they're trying to protect it. She picked up a rock and threw it as hard as she could at Aries. So, she threw a rock. That is an action. At Aries. Aries wasn't paying attention as usual. He was busy enjoying the bloodshed. Okay, enjoying the bloodshed. This is telling me, this is an emotion, and enjoying. This is telling me that Aries really likes watching battles. The rock knocked him out cold. When he woke up, the battle was over. The Greeks had won. Aries never knew it was his sister Athena who had knocked him out of the battle. Knocked him out means you're hit so hard and you kind of blank out.
Okay, now that I read the first part of the story, what I want you to do is pause this video and reflect on something new that you learned. Something new that you were able to catch with me reading it to you and taking the notes. You can share this with your learning coach or sit and reflect on what it was that you learned.
After that, nobody knows but somehow a rumor started that the Greek god Ares was attacked by a magical rock. So we know there's a rumor of Ares being attacked by a magical rock. I guess that would be considered sorry, that would be a rumor started, so that actually would be an action. Something started. Nobody listened to the rumor really. Nobody, that is, except two young brothers. There is a new character being introduced, so I'm going to circle this and write C for character. The brothers owned the field where battles kept happening. Okay, so we also know a little bit more about the character, how they own the field. This tells me more about our character. And I guess it would be also an action. Where battles kept happening. It was very hard to grow crops. They were having a hard time growing crops. This would be a problem. Let's find out why this is a problem for them. It was very hard to grow crops while men were fighting. Oh, there it is. While men were fighting. The boys had grown into giants. Well, not giants perhaps, but certainly tall and manly and strong. The boys quietly collected a huge stack of heavy rocks. Collected a huge stack is an action. The boys quietly collect a huge stack of heavy rocks, hoping one of them would be a magical rock. They did this to make sure that it was maybe a magical rock. Their neighbors thought they were building a wall to help protect the field from the Macedonians. But actually, they were waiting for Ares. What would that be? Would that be action? Main character? Characters? Problems? Emotions? You're right. It would be actions, because they're waiting. They knew Ares would show up sooner or later, because Ares loved bloodshed, and many a battle had been fought in their field. Ares was bound to keep checking. Sure enough, one day, they spotted the great god Ares in the field. Spotted the great god Ares in the field is an action. They threw rocks at him. They were very fortunate that one of their rocks hit Ares and knocked him out cold before Ares noticed what they were doing. So Ares again was knocked out cold. The boys quickly stuffed Ares into a huge vase and plugged the top securely. Okay, so I'm imagining the boys are putting Ares inside a vase and shutting it tight. Securely means shutting something so tight it can't be easily opened. Okay, so I showed you a little bit of how to take notes. This last paragraph, I'm just going to read straight through for you. At this time, I'd like for you to practice this paragraph as I'm reading out loud to you. You can always also go back and rewind this video to this portion if you are having a difficult time taking notes at the same time as I'm writing, or as I'm reading. So, like I said, I'm going to read this straight through. Aries was stuck in that vase for a very long time. And for a very long time, the brothers lived a peaceful life. No battles were fought, their crops flourished, their neighbors to the north became their friends. Aries might still be in that vase today if one of the brothers had not bragged to a neighbor about what they had done. The god Hermes heard about it. Sooner or later, Hermes heard about everything. Hermes rescued his brother. Not that Aries said thank you, but Aries never came back to the field, thinking perhaps that the tale of magical rocks was true. Besides, there were many other fields in ancient Greece, and many other battles. As long as there was bloodshed to enjoy somewhere, Aries was happy.
Okay, I read this story for you. I showed you how to take notes. Let's go back and look at our learning goal. I can notice a difficult task or obstacle for a hero to overcome. Now, what I want you to do is take the time to read this story over again, go back and try and catch more details of what you learned. More specifically, what I want you to look for is the hero in the story. Something that was a problem for them. I want you to look for that. Your hero in the story and something that was a big problem for them. As you're doing that, that is your ticket out. So write that underneath your reflection from yesterday's lesson in your journal. Okay, so in your journal, what you need to do, again, is write who the hero is in the story and a problem that they faced.